Welcome back, guys. This is game number 3. So far, we've seen Keen be absolutely dominant in this series with a quick defensive win in game number 1 and just a nice timing, aggressive push in game number 2. We're cross positions here on Entombed Valley. MVP Keen is in the top left as the blue Terran, and Welmu got his work cut out for him as the red Protoss in the bottom right.
He has indeed got his work cut out for him because he has to win 3 games in a row. And no matter who is playing, who is in that situation, it is difficult. Because Keen now has, a comfort zone where he can go greedy, he can go cheesy, he can go super aggressive. So there's a lot of different options now from Keen to choose from. And imagine the way that we introed the map. It's a very macro-focused map, and we may see Welmu do the same. What happens if Keen goes proxy marauder? What happens if Keen goes double barracks? All these different aggressive plays, which could get him a very easy win, could very easily happen here.
And remember back to last series where we saw a very solid standard player, Kaz, decide to take that risk when he was up 2-0 because he thought, hey, I can just end it right now. I have 2 games to play with. This is a very macro-heavy map. It's not expected, and look at the result. He ended up taking a 3-0 very cleanly. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Keen does something aggressive and non-standard here in game number 3.
So far, though, it doesn't seem like he will be doing anything, unless he throws down a barracks on his natural, which he's not going to do. So he looks like he will be just opening up for 1 barracks command center. I suppose he could throw down, instead of using the 400 resources for a command center, additional barracks, and try something along those lines. But that is a big risk to do, rather than something which could have more immediate effects, because Welmu is now going to move out with his probe, and is getting very close to moving in to now seeing exactly what his opponent's up to.
Right, and yeah, as you said, in the past 2 games, Welmu has been playing very standard, in the opening at least. He's been taking a standard expansion. I know he played a little differently afterwards in game number 1, but there's nothing in Keen's mind that's really going to make him think that Welmu's going to do anything but 1 gate, expand, and scout very quickly. So to try to play with the assumption that Welmu's doing something risky and then play risky yourself, that's probably not a good situation Keen wants to put himself in. So we can see here he is, playing the same as he always plays, getting that 1 barracks up, the 2 supply depots, finishing up his orbital, and then dropping that natural command center.
And you take that mentality from what Keen could potentially do here if he plays to the opposite of how the image of the map is displayed, then Welmu is going to be very scared, especially not being able to get information up the ramp of his opponent. He could easily guess that it's going to be a very simple 1 barracks expand, but there's always going to be that uncertainty that something could happen.
Now see, the dance going on is the Zealot is actually able to take out the SCV, so uncharacteristic loss there for Keen. Now the attack is coming again with the Zealot and Stalker. Bunker started at practically the same timing, and look at this little dance that Keen's doing. You're gonna scout the back door, make sure there's no pylons. It's very easy for that first scouting probe to drop a pylon back there, and you won't realize it until it's too late. So very active scouting here by Keen. I like it.
That's pretty nice, actually. He may try to get damage dealt onto the sentry here, knowing that the Zealot and Stalker every game should be attacking the bunker. This is pretty smart here from Keen. Let's see if he's going to be able to line this up correctly. And, if mismicroed, if miscontrolled, this could actually work, and that's a great upper hand to take.
Yeah, he's going to actually go the distance, and the timing is just right on, as you mentioned. Sentry out, 2 Marines now moving forward, but no, they're actually going to check the third, make sure there's no sneaky third going on. So he's, I guess he's given up a potential sentry kill to make sure that his opponent is doing exactly what he predicts. Zealot on the way back. There may still be time to deal with this sentry.
Indeed, but now there is a force field if needed, and the Zealot's back now as well, so there is the force field if needed, and the Zealot will be able to clean this up. But, Keen taking, instead of going, well, let's see if I can do some damage here, which he's trying to do now as well, he actually did take the scouting option, which now eliminates a third base, an early third base coming down, because sometimes you can see a, 5 minute 30 third base come down, which could be something extreme for Welmu to do.
And that's more the hallmark of a player who's confident and believes he's a more solid player. He's going to take the situation where he doesn't get a big advantage, but just make sure there's nothing crazy going on that could lead to potential wins. The player who's desperate and thinks he's the worst player would probably be charging in there, thinking, if I kill the sentry, I can get a big advantage. Meanwhile, maybe there's a third base going down, and he misses a chance to scout it.
And now Keen's moving out aggressively once again here, and is going to start to deal damage if he continues to deal hits over to that Stalker to lower the shields. But now that Welmu is sitting on 3 gates in a robo again, on a map that is cross-positioned, set up for 2 bases and 2 locations, he has quite a lot of time here to make enough units to deal with this, and easily, comfortably making the robotics bay anyway, just knowing that this can't do damage to him.
And a lot of production facilities out for Keen. He's up to 4 barracks, 1 of them with a reactor, 2 with tech lab. So wants to produce a lot of units here in the mid game. Pushing forward yet again. No third quite yet, Keen, but he's just making certain of it. And Welmu is actually pushing towards the center, completely unaware this army is in his third.
Yeah, that's funny there, because he could kill everything there. He's got more than enough to do so with a Guardian Shield activated. A scan goes down in the main base. I'm going to have to check to see if that actually saw it. It didn't see it, actually. Didn't see the robotics bay go down. And he didn't see anything being chrono boosted out or built from the robotics facility either. So that scan gave no information to Keen whatsoever.
Keen is going to follow up standard regardless. He's got his factory on the way. Just going to crush down his destructible rocks as Dustin Browder sheds a tear as those beautiful rocks are taken down. But everything looking, just nice and on time. The only strange thing to comment here is there's a bunker in the third base full of Marines. So I guess he wants to get more aggressive. The engineering bay wasn't quite cutting it for Keen.
And look at this now. The Marines trying to cut in there, knowing or hoping that Welmu is in the center of the map on the Zelnaga tower here, because Keen doesn't have map control. He's going to get 3 probe kills.
There's a thing called sense of star when you just feel that the units are out of position, and that's what Keen seems to have here. Is he's just dancing around, taking out the probes, correctly identifying that the army may be completely gone. But he's not getting that many probe kills. He's got 5 workers killed. Gonna give up a significant amount of Marines there. I'm sure he won't miss them too much, but it didn't do that much damage.
Look at the difference comparing this game to the previous one. I do not see double forges, and I see a hell of a lot of chrono boost saved up. And with aggressive pylons placed down, which has been spotted by Keen as he moves to his third base to clear it up to take it eventually. All of a sudden, this now has been revealed. But can he catch Keen's army out of position? There are force fields. There is a Colossus, but the Stalkers are just being thrown away.
Oh, wow. Getting completely caught. He does force a stim, but I think Keen would give that up to kill those units very easily. Now moving forward with the Colossus. Beautiful spread by Keen as he tries to get around and get up to focus down this Colossus. Look at the reinforcements driving around the southern lane. Welmu being very careful with this Colossus, trying to bring it back and deal maximum damage. Eventually it does fall, and we're down to just gateway units against barracks units, and that is not going to work out well for Welmu. He's trying to move back to his reinforcing units here.
This is really bad here. I mean, there's double bunker up again. There's medivacs on the way. There's a lot of marauders here because there's the 3 tech labs on the barracks, not the reactors. Because usually you see the reactors. There's even Marines on the natural. The 3 Marines that escape from the bunker go to the natural of Welmu, doing damage to the probe line again. And it just seemed that Keen has this guy's number.
Absolutely. Little by little, just whittling him down. We do have extended thermal lance completed for the Colossi, so that's going to help them in all future battles. But Keen being very, very safe. He's not even pushing forward to take his third base yet. Just wants to get the medevacs out, heal up his army, make sure he doesn't die to this 2-base timing. And Welmu is not letting it go, just continuing to warp in units in the center of the map.
He's not going to let it go, and he will charge up that ramp. And we talked about how easy it is to defend on Entomb Valley with bunkers and this slow charge up the ramp. The ramp is not that big either, and this spread is immaculate here from Keen. And Welmu can't break this, and again, he's looking at that ramp saying, just like map number 1, how can I do this?
Looks like he's going to try to break down the rocks and come at it from another angle where both bunkers aren't hitting. And he's not... Oh my god, one of the Colossi actually getting caught by the Marauders. Now he's forced into a battle he maybe didn't want to have as those Colossi are getting hit by the Vikings. Both players going to back off just a little bit. Welmu returns back up and takes down those rocks.
And with the 4 barracks there, we don't actually see the +1 attack finish, which it would normally be. So that's an advantage for Welmu, but look at the amount of units here. It doesn't matter what Welmu tries. This is going to get crushed as long as the Vikings keep on hammering down the Colossus.
And he was in a nice position at that choke where all the infantry units could not surround it, but eventually he's got to push forward as his Colossus were just getting beaten sitting in that choke. When he pushed forward, the units all spread out and collapsed down onto those Protoss units and just really defended nicely.
And building 2 medivacs here, which is a little bit brave considering there's a second Colossus in again. Switching over there, knowing that the medivac energy is really low. He has stimmed a lot here through being aggressive out in the open, and Welmu is looking for an entrance in. Keen pulling SCVs there, feeling a little bit pressured, is even adding on additional barracks as well, and all he has to do is hold this. He scans one more time, sees the army movement, so he equally moves his army to counteract too.
Third Colossus is now marched all across the map, going to rejoin this unit. Looking at the production, a fourth Colossus is actually on the way. Is it rallied over? Yes, everything is now rallied forward as he tries to charge up the ramp yet again, trying to focus the bunker. The SCV is trying to take it down. Looks like they will break that bunker, but look at the beautiful arc. Force Field's trying to isolate them, letting the Zealots run up, but oh my god, beautiful surface area by MVP Keen as the Terran units again collapse down on the Protoss units and just smother everything.
Indeed, a great decision to pull the SCVs just to make sure there is enough buffering there for his units. And even though he had 3 Vikings versus 3 Colossus at that stage of the game, even though that may seem like WTF, how did he hold? The buffering of the SCVs just allowed the gateway units to be crushed. The Marauder and Marines crushed through everything, leaving the Colossus naked with no protection. And Welmu has to go to plan B. Or probably plan D, or maybe F by now, because Double Forge is on the way, and he has to take a third base at the same time. And that naturally opens up a counter-attack option for Keen to just move out once again, once everything is healed out, to end the game.
Right, and the beautiful thing for Keen is that he's had this bunker sitting at the third the entire time, so not only is he aware that, not only was he aware that there wasn't a third base, he's going to be aware of when the third base starts. Reacting to that, he's got his third command center already done, waiting to land, and just getting further and further ahead here in game number 3.
Indeed he is, and very cautiously. He knows there's no third Nexus down. The Nexus tries to go down, it's denied by a bunker, so the Colossus and units are going to have to come over. And this even reveals the amount of units that that Welmu has, like 3 Zealots, 2 Sentries, and double Colossus. Keen says, wait a minute. Wait, alright, let's go. And moves across the map knowing that his opponent has absolutely no defense. He has no upgrades, nothing really to protect anything here, to protect his economy in his home base. And it looks like Keen is coming to chop the Finnish player's head off.
Absolutely. And Apollo, this area where it was just scanned between the second and third base is a really pivotal, vulnerable area for Protoss, and he's going to use his factory, float it up there, and be able to isolate the units. That factory gives really nice scouting and TVP, and just a beautiful addition by Keen.
And this, is looking very scary. Of course, Welmu is in the defensive posture. 1-1 is soon to be done for him as well, so this isn't terrible for him. He doesn't have that many Stalkers, so the Vikings are going to last a lot longer, which will mean the Colossus will eventually fall. There are a few units doing damage to the Nexus, pulling Welmu out of position. Keen just charges up the ramp, and wow. My god, Keen just breaks the high ground advantage.
Yeah, Keen draws all the units across into his third base, and now forces Welmu to go through this tiny little choke, and here comes the collapse. Yet again, the force field's trying to deny it as Welmu wants to get his units up there, but everything is just melting. The Vikings focus down the Colossus. There goes number 2. Number 3 to fall shortly, and even if this doesn't kill him, which I believe it will, the follow-up absolutely will. We see those Zerg-like units funneling into the main base of Welmu. We've got a counterattack in Keen's natural with a few Zealots, but that is just far too little, too late, as the Nexus goes down, and with it, Welmu's chances in TSL number 4. And it looks like Apollo is actually speechless with what is going on in this game. Take a look at the supplies. Welmu down to 29.